Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Ann Metcalf, and welcome to Conscious Eating, Conscious Living, December 17th, 2023. And welcome. And today is the result of doing an experiment with a grade two class that I had the privilege of um, working and playing with um, this fall for 2 months. Grade twos, and we decided to look at what was growing on our bread. And it came from an experiment I saw in another school classroom. And I was shocked. And I thought, oh, this would be great for the grade twos to experiment with and just see where is all this bacteria, mold, fungus, where's it all coming from? So, a little bit about that. And then, what else do we need to be paying attention to? And it came from that experiment and what the kids touch the bread within the school environment, and then what's at home in terms of our um, kitchen and bathroom linen. So I'll get into that after I talk about the bread experiment. So mold is a type of fungus that's a living organism that produces spores and feeds on organic matter such as rotting food. And there are many different kinds of mold that grow in different places. Some molds only grow in wood, others tend to be found on decaying plant or animal matter, and some are most commonly found in food. Several different kinds of mold appear on bread, so they're referred to as bread molds. There are over 100,000 varieties, and they're on just about everything you touch and in every breath you take. Several aspects of molds identified as bread molds grow on bread, and they form when mold spores find their way onto the surface of the bread. And, and what it does, it eats the organic compounds found in bread and other food, things like penicillium and cladosporium and black bread mold are three common bread molds. Some are harmless and some are not. So just don't eat your moldy bread. Molds are beneficial to the environment and are needed to break down dead material. Very tiny and lightweight mold spores travel easily through the air. And that's why, when if you smell mold in your home, like we did a number of years ago, you need to deal with it because it's not healthy. And I've been at a school when I could see and smell the mold, and I reported it to my upper authorities, and hopefully that was dealt with because it's not good for students, anybody, to be breathing in um, mold at any time. I mean, when it's in large numbers, it can cause allergic symptoms. Um, and exposure to a large number of mold spores may cause watery eyes, runny nose, sneezing, itching, coughing, wheezing, difficulty breathing, headache, and fatigue. And repeated exposure can increase a person's sensitivity, causing more severe allergic reactions. And these problems get worse when you've got that poor indoor air quality. And you've got certain molds such as Stachybotrys and Aspergillus can produce toxins called mycotoxins under certain conditions, and they can cause more serious illnesses. So, why the mold on the soccer balls, the door handles, desktops, and the other surfaces? The dirty surfaces were exposed to more germs than the clean hand and control. And the experiment also teaches the children and the rest of us about the importance of washing our hands. And so these students put uh, plastic gloves on, and each took a slice of bread, and they were all given different surfaces to wipe the bread on, and doorknobs, the entrance doorknob to the school, library books, the desktops, the chairs. One girl wiped the bread on the bottoms of shoes, the outdoor soccer ball, the outdoor equipment, pens and pencil crayons in the classroom that were shared with everybody. And then the other group, there was a control bread, which I put in using plastic gloves from the plastic bag with the bread into a baggie, sealed it so it was not touched by human hands. and others, some students, they wash their hands um, 10 seconds with soap and water, 20 seconds with soap and water, and gel. And then one student just wiped his hands without washing his hands at all. And so the worst one of of all of it was the bread wiped on an apple, an orange, and some grapes. That bread developed the mold first and was far away the worst. And in the 2 week period, most of everything grew mold and all sorts of other interesting, I would suspect, kinds of bacteria in the bread on it because they were all sealed, they were all labeled and taped to the indoor window in the classroom. So any of the students in the other classes walking by could see the mold growing. So it was a great experiment and just a great lesson on why we need to wash our hands all the time with soap and water. Now, there was one picture I included on the Facebook page, and their experiment showed that the hands washed with the gel, which we were encouraged to use during COVID times, the gel, that experiment, it grew mold, whereas in our experiment, it didn't grow so much mold. So maybe it was the kind of antiseptic gel. I prefer, to me, soapy water. For me, is just better than that alcoholic stuff. But that's up to you to choose whichever way you want to clean your hands, especially when you're doing it often. And so, um, how to wash your hands, clean running water, lather your hands with soap. And some people recommend antibacterial, but we actually need that bacteria, that microbiome on our skin. It actually helps protect us and build up our immunity. And so, for me, just regular hand soap is all you need to rub and scrub and, sing yourself the birthday song or peanut butter sandwich made with jam or whatever song you want that takes you about 20 seconds to get that all. And then you rinse your hands and then a clean hand towel. And the schools use paper towels, so it's a one-time use and it gets put into the compost bin. And so it goes back into the system. And then the next question was, well, what about your hand and bath towels? What is that doing? So we're wiping our hands off, and some of that, you've got some of that dead skin comes off in your hands, and it sits and with the whatever germs that you were or dirt that you were wiping off. And so yeah, some interesting rabbit holes that I went down looking at the research. So towels absorb a lot of water, and some of them, depending on the fabric, remain damp for hours, which is the perfect breeding ground for unwanted germs. And that's why your towels should be washed every 3 uses, according to several sites. You have 19 million skin cells and 650 sweat glands in every inch of your body. So you've got everywhere. And one powerful tool keeps it clean day after day, and that's your bath towel. Dead cells make up the top 20 layers of your skin. Some of these cells scrub off in the shower, but many of them will end up in your bath towel every day if you take a daily shower. And I know some people recommend not doing a daily bath or shower because you're removing that microbiome that's actually helping to protect you. And so, anyway, dirty towels can spread viruses, fungi, bacteria. And the consequences of using a dirty towel include irritated skin and possibly spreading infections. The bacteria that causes the staph infections, this MRSA, which is this one that is um, very difficult to deal with antibiotics. It's a sort of yeah, it's kind of the fear in the hospitals that there will be that kind of a staph infection because it's really really hard to deal with, and it spreads on the towels and the linens. And then Well, the next question, what about dish towels and dishcloths? And so I found several sites that had different kinds of information. Dishcloths offer the perfect environment for bacterial growth on ingrained residual foodstuffs, dirt, and grease, which can lead to food poisoning. Something to think about. And this site that I was looking at, it was for commercial kitchens, and they had some simple tips to reduce the possibility of cross contamination caused by the dishcloths in your home. And so, where possible, replace cleaning cloth with paper towel or single use cloth to eliminate the need to wash and sanitize. That's one option. Or replace the cloth on a regular basis if it's frayed or torn. Color code your cleaning cloth for the different areas and chemicals. So, this is more for a kitchen, a commercial kitchen. And wash the dishcloth out after each use using hot water and detergent. Immerse cloth in boiling water for 2 minutes and leave to air dry before reusing. And ideally, these cloths should be washed daily in a washing machine or dishwasher on a hot cycle. And basically get a clean cloth out at the beginning of each day. And you can have a basket if you want for your the used towels and take them off to the laundry room. So, and your dirty tea towels can also spread bacteria. So you need to wash them regularly and just use them for the specific purpose. If it's a dish towel or a tea towel, only use it for dishes. Don't use it for wiping up spills on the counter, the floor, anywhere. Only for dishes. And then the other thing is um, a hand towel. Now they do this other site that deals with commercial kitchens using detergents or degreasers. So that's because they don't kill bacteria, and disinfectants kill bacteria, but they don't have cleaning properties. And then uh, also it has to be food safe. So make sure whatever you're using in your kitchen is actually food safe. If you drop food on the counter, you don't want it picking up the chemicals. So that's something to think about. And anyway, read your labels. And the other thing is, I found some other information. And this one site says, dish towels can be one of the dirtiest items in your home. So it depends on where you use it. And a study by an American Society of Microbiology showed that half of kitchen towels tested contained some sort of bacterial growth, such as E. coli or staph. And because dish towels are so absorbent, they're the perfect home for bacteria, mildew, and even mold. And your damp, warm towel is also the ideal breeding ground for that bacteria. And the smell you associate with your dish towels and washcloths, that could possibly be mold and mildew. And if they smell, it's time for a wash. And if you can't get it out, then get a new towel. Use very hot water. Some of it comes out in the dryer, and if it's still smelly when it comes out of the dryer, get some new cloth. And some experts even recommend washing towels daily or after each single use. And they did a study in 2015 at Kansas State University, and again repeating that tea towels or just towels in general were the kitchen towels most contaminated item. And they found that the participants were handling the towels much more often than they realized. And the participants would touch the towel before washing their hands or use the towel after washing their hands inadequately. And even after properly washing their hands, they reused the towel and contaminated themselves all over again. So change your tea towels and your hand towels in the kitchen often. And when you're done with a meal and you've cleaned up after the night, put all those cloths in the wash. And something else that somebody recommended was boiling it. You can put a couple of your washcloths, for the dishcloth, in boiling water with baking soda and boil for a few minutes, and that will help destroy. And then you can put them into the washing machine. Um, and by putting it into a hot dryer, so the dryer on high heat, is another way of killing off any lingering bacteria. And now, if you have a skin condition, eczema, where you've got a cut, um, when your skin's barrier is compromised, then microorganisms like bacteria can enter your body through the cracks in your skin, which is why it's really important. So if you have those kinds of skin issues, to use a clean washcloth every day. Or if you have something like athlete's foot, which is caused by the same type of fungus that causes ringworm, you can transfer that fungus to other areas of your body by using a washcloth and then end up developing ringworm. So it's something for you to look into. And as we mentioned, there's actually this one site said there's no actual studies addressing the question. One of the reasons is because there's so many types of microorganisms living on our skin. And experts haven't identified a special threshold of pathogen exposure that is more likely to cause an infection in this scenario. And so they're saying that if you don't have an open wound, there actually no evidence, scientific evidence, to support daily changing of washcloths and towels. So you be your own health guru. And the main thing is you want to make sure that the washcloth dries quickly to avoid the continuous growth of microorganisms. Ideally, you would wring out your washcloth and hang it to dry outside the shower so it doesn't stay moist. And um, and it says it's completely normal to have these types of microorganisms to set up shop on your skin indefinitely. In fact, collectively, these microorganisms make up our skin microbiome, which I've mentioned before. It's actually part of our immune system and helps protect against potentially harmful pathogens. But so along with some of the sloughing of these germs, your washcloth removes some of your skin, the skin cells as you clean yourself, and they offer food for the pathogens. So there you go. And to prevent the growth of bacteria, another professor said it's best to have different towels for different uses, and especially in the kitchen. So, and that's what I have. I have a cloth to wipe my hands, and I have a tea towel for my dishes only. And I also use these cellulose cotton fiber. I think it's called the Swedish dishcloth. And I use them for wiping my hands when I am doing any cooking or food prep. So I'm wiping, instead of actually putting it on the hand towel, I'm using these squares that can be put in the wash. And after reading this information, they're going into the washing bucket every night. I'm going to actually boil some of them because you can boil those what they call the Swedish washcloths for the kitchen, and you can boil them and see if I can clean them up a bit, because when you look at them, I'm going, oh dear, yeah, do I really want to wipe my hands, even though they've been through hot water in the wash and the dryer? And so the next stage will be boiling them in some baking soda and see if I can get any residue bacteria out of that. And otherwise, they'll be going into the rag bin for washing cars and cleaning up messy spills, etc. They can eventually go into the garbage. And so we should really be keeping separate towels for, wiping counters. And because you don't want to be wiping one counter, and especially if you've been preparing meat, chicken, and you're wiping up whatever spill from that raw food, that cloth needs to go immediately in, hang it to dry, and going into the wash, and probably rinsing first, hang to dry, and then putting it right into the laundry, because they should not be used for anything, and definitely not wiping your counters. And so, yeah, just keep a mind on that. And apparently another site I was looking at said when you add vinegar or baking soda to the wash along with your laundry detergent, it actually increases the risk of poorer cleaning performance because the detergents are optimized for a specific pH level, which is altered with you when you add those additives that you think you're helping clean your cloth better. Some people have used vinegar to boil the dishcloth in, and others the baking soda. And now these Swedish dishcloths that I've looked at, they last 4 to 6 months with the average wear and tear, and they can be used for up to a year. And one cloth can replace 17 rolls of paper towels, which is a savings of money. And then I've included some other sites and for that. So anyway, and the washing towels. Now, you can wash your towels in hot water with 1 cup of vinegar, or in a half a cup of baking soda, and put it right into the wash. And they have a Diva wash that they add, but you wouldn't be wanting to put the detergent in there at the time because that kind of negates the cleaning. And so the Swedish dishcloths are made from a combination of cellulose and cotton. Ideally makes them a cross between a paper towel and a sponge. So they're absorbent, they dry rapidly, which is important, and they're durable. So just remember, hand hygiene is very important in preventing diseases and keeping the entire family safe and healthy. So do your research. I'll put some of the links in the Facebook comments page so you can look it up for yourself and make your own healthy decisions. And if you've got kids, try the moldy bread experiment. There's lots of teacher guided and science experiment guided ways of doing it. We just took white bread, just sort of fresh made bread, not the sort of the processed. It had like 4 or 5 ingredients in it. You can choose organic bread if you want, just plain, and 1 slice, and you just wipe and use the gloves so there's no human contamination, and just wipe on all sorts of surfaces around your home, and let you and your children look at where things aren't so clean as you thought they were, and why it's important to wash your hands before you eat. I mean, definitely have to go to the bathroom, but before you do any of your food prep, wash those hands really well. And are you using clean cloths? So have fun with this one with your family, and let's be safe and healthy with what we are cleaning ourselves and our kitchen with. So blessings to all of you, and namaste. Much love to all of you, and just to enjoy a happy Sunday with whatever you're doing. And until next time, thank you.